Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take a look at another truck from HBX. This is a 16890A. This is a 1/16 scale little brushless truck. I reviewed the 903A last week with 1/12 scale. Again, this is a little bit smaller. Now, I did things a little out of order. I typically like to do my table review, then take it out and I can bash it if something breaks. It's not on the table review that you can see, you can see that the product as it should be now. But I did a little out of order because I like to go to that skate park, which I went to with the 903A. As you guys know, get some massive jumps over there. It's a lot of fun to take a truck and drive it over there. And I wanted to do it today while there was no kids around, while they were in school, so I'd film that first, and then I was going to do the table review later today, which I'm doing right now. Unfortunately, we broke something when I was over there because I really bashed this in a way that this truck probably isn't really designed to take 8 to 10 foot jumps repeatedly like I was doing. There's a little damage to the body here on the front. This grill busted off and part of it's still missing, but I was able to tape it back on place. It's not a big deal on the Lexan body, but as you guys can see here, the front left shock busted off on this guy. These are aluminum oil-filled shocks, and I'll show you some footage here that I took before I drove it today, so you can see what they look like when they're perfectly mint condition. They're aluminum blue shocks with the nice white accent springs, but the very top of the shocks are plastic that connect to the shock tower, and that's where the weak link is, so to speak. As you'll see at the end of the video, of course I had to stop after it had busted, but I had a decent amount of drive time for that. I was going for another one of those big jumps, and as it went up, it kind of, it loses traction quite a bit because it's very slick over there. And it went sideways, it hit the fence that surrounds the park and fell to the ground. And what I feel happened is as it was falling, it was coming down, it probably hit this front left wheel, impacted the ground first. And it probably, it compressed the shock more than it can travel. And once it did that on that impact, then all the pressure is being applied to the shock tower mount here at the top, and that just snapped off because there was no more compression the shock could do. So that's what I'm sure happened. Now I did several, at least I think twice before that I was able to get up over the, jump over the rail or fence, whatever you want to call it. It goes around the ramp itself, and it was fine. It landed fine. Now I did notice that I did bend one of these metal dog bones in the rear here on this side from one of the impact, but it works fine. It's just the dog bone's bent here on the inside. I just noticed this just moments before filming this. So it's nice that they do include metal dog bones on this car and the oil-filled shocks. But keep in mind, it's not meant to take the jumps that I did today. I wanted to see how well it did. A really expensive high-end truck, yes, they can. This is a budget class truck from a good brand, HBX, but not your hobby shop brand per se. So it's not going to necessarily be able to take those. But Tamiya cars wouldn't be able to take this either, and they're some of my favorites. So just keep that in mind. Now, this is like maybe like I could say an upgraded version of the 16889 that I have right back here. That one's also brushless, and they do have a pro version of that one as well. The pro version of this one comes, the 18889 comes with oil-filled shocks, but this original one didn't. I did add oil-filled shocks to it, but this one does come with oil-filled shocks, like the pro version of that, and it has all metal dog bones. The 16889 comes with metal dog bones in the rear and plastic in the front. You want to try to avoid plastic dog bones whenever you can because they're going to bust these. You can see this one bent. If that was plastic, I'm sure that would have snapped. It would have just given into the pressure and busted. So that is something to keep in mind between these, but this has some upgrades over that. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same truck, just a different chassis, different body, similar chassis, but different body and some upgraded components on this guy. As I mentioned, they're both brushless. This comes with a 3500 kV brushless motor and a 35 amp ESC receiver combo. The 16889 came with a 3900 kV, so 400 kV more. They're both running 2S. this is fast as can be, so I don't think you're going to notice any difference in the slight kV rating in between those. But as you can see, a nice looking green brushless motor. The original had a blue. And then you get your 3-wire little mini steering servo over on this side of the car here. And then your battery compartment right here. And then it has a nice support to go down the middle of the car where your drivetrain and runs from the rear to the front gearbox on this truck. They give you 2 LiPo batteries. These are 1000 milliamp hour, 7.4 volt 2S LiPos. So get a decent runtime, probably depending on how you run this. I don't ever rate the runtime because it depends on how fast you accelerate, how fast do you drive, do you poke around, do you stop a lot. It's not like a drone where you can get a decent idea on flight time. You can't get a runtime very good on the car, in my opinion. They give you 2 USB chargers. So these will get the job done. They use the balance plug so you can charge up both batteries and then go out and drive your car. So I do like to include 2 because these are relatively inexpensive. But I always recommend get yourself a hobby grade charger. Not only will it charge this battery faster, it'll charge it more true in terms of you will get a more accurate charge so you don't accidentally overcharge. These can tend to slightly under or overcharge a LiPo. Not enough to damage them, but it can make a little difference in the longevity of the battery life and how well it performs. But these can't store your battery at storage voltage. These need to be stored, I should say, at around 3.8, 3.85 volts per cell. There's 2 cells, that's why this is called a 2S. And this can't do that in a hobby grade charger. Even like an IMAX, SkyRC IMAX clone you see all over eBay and Amazon can do that. And that'll keep the battery from puffing up and going bad over time. That's a lot less likely. It can still happen, but it's much less likely if you use a hobby grade charger. They give you some extra body clips and a 4-way wheel wrench, some of the pins that go into the drive here, and some of the wheel nuts if you need to replace anything, because they give you a set of paddle tires, which is a nice added touch, and it helps to make the cost of this truck more understandable, being that it's not like dirt cheap. It's around maybe $120, I think, in that price range. And you get a full set that includes the wheels and the tires. And you might lose a wheel nut, and that's why you got some spares. And these are wheel specific or side specific. This is the right tires. This one had an L on there, but I don't know if it fell off the bag or what. But these are for the right side, and these are for the left side. The direction of the little knobs on here on the paddles is what it is. Are different directions, so you do want to put them on the correct side of the vehicle. So if you take it out to the beach and you're driving it in the sand, you want to throw these on, and that really is a nice added touch, because I don't think this car's expensive, especially for a car off Amazon. If you compare it to like if you go to your local hobby shop, stuff's just way more expensive. But it's still it's justifiable considering these tires. I think it's a decent price on this guy. So that's the kind of stuff that you get with the car. They do give you a decal sheet. So as you can see, I put most of them on the body, which of course I said it sustained some damage today. But yeah, you just pull the film off the body, and then there's a protective film on, always comes on it. Pull that off, and then you can apply whatever decals you want. And I think it looks better with the decals on this truck. And then you do need to put on the spoiler. You don't have to, of course, but I think it looks better with it on. So they give you a couple screws in a bag with that. Tim put this on, then you have a couple of decals you can put on each side of the spoiler. And then they give you a wheelie bar on the back. Here's ball bearings in there. This is nice and smooth. But unfortunately, just like the 903A and some of the other vehicles I've received over the years, I don't see that it's necessary. On 2S, I can't get the right of wheelie. It will sort of come off the ground if you do reverse and then you go forward really quickly. I got the front wheels to come off the ground a little, but not enough that it actually touched the wheelie bar. So I don't think it's really necessary. You might be able to run this in 3S, and on 3S you might be able to. I thought some people used to run the 16889 on 3S, but it's not something that I'm going to do. And the fact that this is a really small battery compartment, it's going to be tough to find a 3S that's going to fit in there with 3 cells. It is possible, it's just really small. So keep that in mind. On this guy that you can install it, I went ahead and did it. There's a little instruction manual that they give you separately inside the little bag with it. It shows you how to install it. You just take out these 4 screws on the bottom, pull that piece off. I have it laying around here somewhere. Then you put this right back in place of it, and then 2 screws come in down to the top and mount and attach it on the top. But again, I don't think it's necessary. I didn't ever see the wheelie bar was ever used today. So I would just say leave it off, because it's just sort of dead weight. You're just adding some weight to the car that's just really not necessary. And we have the controller here, which is an HBX, standard style controller. Not a bad controller. It takes 3 AA batteries. You have your steering trim, your steering dual rates, and your throttle trim, some steering and throttle reversing on it. And it does just use a plastic steering wheel, so it's a little slippery. So if you've got sweaty fingers or perspiration, it could slip. But it's a fine controller, pretty standard for what HBX uses, and it has pretty decent range. So this is not a bad controller by any means for this kit. All right, guys, that wraps up the table review for this car. Let's get out to the skate park and see how this did, and how you those jumps and that I did, and you guys can see, did you think it was cool? And you can see that crazy crash at the end. All right, guys, we'll be right back with that. All right, guys, let's take the 16890A out and do a little drive review here today. As you can see, I'm at the skate park. I couldn't resist finding an excuse to come here and drive another RC car, so I thought it'd be good to take the 1/16 scale truck out here, since I had the slightly bigger 1/12 scale 903A out here last week. So let's get down here and let's see how this truck does, and how it handles the jumps, the oil-filled shocks, and it ought to handle the jumps good. I expect it's going to be very similar to how it did with the 903A, but of course this truck's a little bit smaller. Just make sure we got the steering trim. Here it looks like it's pulling to the left a little bit, so let's just trim that up. Just kind of want to see how it handles here first, since it's my first drive, before we do some jumps. Yeah, it's losing some traction here. Pretty quick. But I don't see that, once again, I don't see the wheelie bar as necessary. Let's give it throttle. Just a little bit of a momentum shift. Let's see if I do reverse and forward. No, let's try that again. Close, but yeah, I just don't. Once again, I think this wheelie bar may not necessarily be necessary. But I went ahead and installed it just in case. The 16889 also came with a wheelie bar, and it's been a while since I drove that one, so I can't remember if that one needed it. This does have a slightly lower kV motor on this one compared to the 16889. Nice. Yeah, the 16889 had a 3900 and this is a 3500. They're both 2S powered. Whoa! Oh, back on its wheels. Oh, nice. Woo! Oh, end up upside down. But yeah, it seems to be pretty similar. I really love the 16889, and of course this one's got the wheel-filled shocks, and that one didn't come with it unless you bought the Pro version. Otherwise, they're pretty darn similar. Ooh, they're pretty darn similar. Hate when it ends up upside down like this, because you guys just gotta watch me walk around and flip it back over. Whoa! Now that was cool. Let's try that again. Let's see what kind of. Whoa! It did! It went all the way over. That was wicked. And it looks like, I mean, it looks fine. Look, no popped out dog bones or anything like that. That was crazy. That's what you want to see. It's not gonna bust or pop out a dog bone from something. That was crazy. See, the 903A, just bigger. And I couldn't, you know, I thought it might be able to do that. I'm gonna ease it up here this time. But I mean, that cleared that by a mile. I'm gonna take it over here. I don't know what, I'm not into skateboarding, so I don't know what you call this ramp that goes, that the skateboarders like to use. Whoa. Let's try it here. I want to go up, kind of do that jump like I did the other day with the 903A, coming from like an angle. Whoa. Upside down. But yeah, I'll do another jump like that over there again, because that caught me a bit unexpected. I didn't think that it would clear that by so much. That was crazy. Upside down, darn. End up upside down so often, but you know, well, probably as many times I've landed upright or had it flip around upright. And a slick surface is a little, trying to get the car to go exactly like I want it to. It tends to spin out. Whoa, oh nice. Almost stuck the landing, as you could say in gymnastics, but then it bounced on over. But yeah, the oil-filled shocks are still doing their job. I mean, oh jeez. But the, you know, that was one of the biggest problems with the 16889 was just the really bouncy friction shocks, which why I did a video where I, oh jeez, upside down again, where I did the oil-filled shock upgrade. And that made a big difference on that truck. And it was one of my favorites. I just haven't driven it in a while. Oh, that wedge underneath there. It's just the right size to get wedged underneath there. All right, just the traction is a bit of a problem on the slick concrete and on this, especially the slick ramps here. It just really loses traction and makes it hard to do some of these jumps. Probably more so than even the 903A. Now this truck does come with paddle tires, which is not made for this type of surface, of course. More like sand. But it is a nice touch that they add those, so you can pop those wheels on. They come with the rims or the wheel and tire, whatever you want to call it. So you don't, it's an easy, just unscrew the wheel nut and pop them on. You don't have to install the entire, take the tire off and put these on. At least I don't think it was. I'm starting to question myself. Pretty sure it came with the wheel and the hub, or wheel and tire, or tire wheel, whatever you want to call it. Whoa, man, that hit it really hard. Now this is a lower angle on this one, and it really smacked into that one hard. Now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna be able to get up here and try to get this. So, all right guys, I got it flipped over. I had to actually run up this ramp, and 51, I'm getting too old for that. That was a bit scary, but I got it flipped back over, so now we can go. It looks like everything's just fine, but that really hit that hard. But that front bumper is very flexible. What I want to do is try hitting this again and see if we can do that. Another jump. Let me get back here. Oh geez, see, it spun out. That's the problem, is it loses its traction and it spins out, and then it lost its, it spun out and I lost the angle. Let me try it again. Oh geez, I think I missed the ramp. It's really hard to oh no, I was so close and hit the side fence. I really wanted to see if I could hit this again. I know I can, it's just, it really just loses traction so easily. Everything looks fine though. Whoa, oh my goodness. I hit the side fence. And it's upside down. That looks like something might be goofed up. Yeah. I think, well, yeah, we knocked the shock tower busted. And we busted out all the front of the body. Oh man. Well, I was about ready to stop. We'll have to look here. Let's pop this body off and see, is a shock tower busted? Or did it pull the screw out or something? So that was really, I was a little worried about that jump, but I wanted to get straight on, but just the car loses traction. So as you're going, it'll spin out, ends up going sideways, and we lost a body clip, which I'm not surprised by that. They do give you extra of those. That's the least of my concerns. See, yeah, it looks, yeah, we busted the shock off completely. So, you know, I really bashed this hard, so I'm gonna have a hard time being too critical, because that was, I mean, that was some crazy jumps you're not gonna be typically doing. So we saw how much it we drove it around here. Again, I can't be too critical because it took some massive jumps and didn't bust, but hitting that fence and landing from, you know, what is that, probably 9 feet. All right, guys, that wraps up the review. I hope you guys appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. While you're at it, click that bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.